Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those new here, my name's Nicki. I'm an author and editor and I post videos here on YouTube about writing, editing, reading and all the other things I love. Today we're here for my end of the month film and TV wrap up. It's not been a hugely busy month, so we should get through this fairly quickly. And I'm going to actually reverse the order a little bit for today, and you'll find out why in a little while. So instead of starting with cinema, I'm going to start with TV and streaming. So what have I been watching film-wise on streaming? Not a lot this month. There's not been masses that's come up on Netflix that's interested me. I've only watched two. So one of those was on Netflix, and that was Paterson, the Jim Jarmusch film starring Adam Driver, which I've been interested in watching for a little while. I do like Adam Driver as an actor, and I really enjoyed this film. It's a fairly slow-paced kind of piece, so it's pretty much typical for that director, and it follows Paterson, who's a bus driver and amateur poet, through a week in his life. So there's not a huge amount of action. There are a few little bits and pieces that happen to him. It's more about a sort of emotional drama and just following him and the things he deals with in everyday life, which makes him really relatable because he just seems like us. And I thought it was a really good film. I'd probably give it 4 stars. I would watch it again, I think, but perhaps I wouldn't rush to do so. But anyway, it's worth having a look at if you like those kind of indie drama pieces. The other one I watched was The Music of Silence, and I'm actually just trying to remember. I think this was on Netflix too. If it wasn't, it was on SBS On Demand, but I think it was Netflix. And The Music of Silence is a biopic about the Italian opera singer Andrea Bocelli. For those who don't know, Andrea Bocelli is blind. I've liked him for quite a few years. If you don't recognise the name, you may know one of his songs. He sang a piece with Sarah Brightman some years back called Time to Say Goodbye. So you may know that song even if you don't know his other work. I enjoy his opera albums, but I do particularly like it when he does the opera pop crossover pieces like the Cieli di Toscana album is my absolute favourite. And this was really interesting because I actually didn't know a lot about his background, so it was fascinating to see what his life was like and how he became a world-known or world-renowned, well-known singer, and despite the difficulties he faced. So if you're into classical music, if you like Andrea Bocelli, it's definitely worth taking a look at, and probably 4 stars again for me. So moving into TV, I've actually not been watching a huge amount of stuff on streaming services because I'm still doing my Angel and Buffy rewatch. And we've mostly been doing Angel because my husband likes that more. So although I'd planned to alternate between the 2 series to keep the timeline roughly in check, he's been preferring Angel. So we're actually coming up towards the end of the final season of Angel, so I'll be talking to you more about that one next month. At which point I will get back onto Buffy. I'm picking up from season 4 again, so we'll talk about that once I get to the end of season 7. In the meantime, I did watch 2 other things this month, which was a mix of TV and streaming. Basically, I was trying to watch them on TV, but if I missed one, then I'd pick up on streaming and catch up. And the first of those was series 4 of Poldark, which was awesome again. I mean, I don't think they can go wrong with that series. I hear the next one might be the last, 5 might be the final one. Aidan Turner's awesome, and it's been a really good, solid series all the way through, so still great to catch up with more of it this time. And the other one I watched, again with that mix of TV and streaming, was the 3rd season, of Versailles. This is the final season, I think. I don't think they're making any more. And again, as good as the first 2 seasons, really great drama, excellent performances. George Blagden, love him to death. And if you like period dramas, really, Poldark and Versailles, you should definitely check both of them out. So that brings us on to film, and the reason I've left this till this week is because this month I was made Film Reviewer of the Month by Palace Nova, which are the cinema chain that's in the city centre, which is the one I go to most often. I'm a member there. And because I share some of my reviews on their FB page, they picked me for this month to be their movie reviewer, which meant that I was able to see 1 new release film per week. It was their choice which ones, and I was able to go for free. So that was really awesome. 2 of the 4 films were actually on my to-see list anyway, and the other 2 weren't, but it's still been really interesting to see them. So as I'm filming this, I'm actually filming it the day before I go to see the last one, basically because tomorrow is going to be manic. So I thought I'm going to get the most of it filmed, and then tomorrow I will just come back on the webcam and talk about the final film, which I'll tack on to the end of this video before I edit and upload. So kicking us off anyway, the first film I went to see this month was On Chesil Beach. This is a romantic drama with the emphasis on the drama. A married couple are just married and we meet them in a hotel, but there's very clearly something wrong in their relationship. And during the course of this film, through a series of flashbacks, we get to find out how they met, how their relationship developed, and what's happened on this, like their wedding day, that has caused all these problems between them. And then finally we move into the future and we see how they both got on with their lives after the event. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to ruin it. I also hope the lighting's not going too dodgy in here. It's just suddenly the sun's gone in a bit and I feel I might be a bit dark, so apologies if I am. Anyway, this was a 5-star film for me. Really gorgeous drama. It was absolutely riveting from start to finish, and you know, really tugged at the heartstrings, and you really got an amazing sense of who these people are, and also a sort of sense of futility that you can see what's going to happen and you can see how it's all going to go wrong and you can't do anything to warn them about it. But definitely worth watching if you like sort of deep psychological dramas. The next one I saw was BlackkKlansman, which I was very interested in seeing. I do like Spike Lee, and again, Adam Driver, who I mentioned earlier, I like. And I thought this film was very good. I gave this a 4-star. I thought it's very hard to review this film without talking about political things. And as such, I think it had a really good message, a really timely message. I liked that it didn't just say it was only the KKK who were bad. It also made mention of the fact that some of the groups on the opposite side were talking about buying guns and becoming militant too. So I thought that gave a very fair assessment. And unfortunately we do live in a world where these things happen still. It's really terrible. You'd think by now we would be in a society where we'd be able to get over some of this stuff. And I think it is, as I said, a very timely reminder about some of the stuff that goes on. And excellent performances. I thought it was a really interesting balance of drama and comedy, and there were times when you absolutely laugh out loud and then something would happen in the next scene that almost made you feel guilty for having laughed a moment ago, which I thought was very clever filmmaking. So definitely, if you like dramas with a bit of a political edge, a bit of a message, it's definitely worth checking out. The next one I saw was a small Australian indie film called West of Sunshine, and this was another 4-star watch for me. It basically revolves around a guy who's a gambling addict, and he owes money to a loan shark. And yet, on the day he thinks he's got to go and get pay up and sort this out, he suddenly realises he'd forgotten his son was on school holidays and he's meant to be looking after him. So the son has to go with him travelling around the city while he's trying to deal with this enormous problem hanging over his head. And he sorts it out only to then get himself in deeper trouble because he manages to find the money, but then he spends it all on the horses. So it was a really fascinating look at the idea of families, the idea of father-son relationships, and also the idea of addictions and how that can affect relationships and people's lives. So it had a lot of really important messages, beautifully shot. The music played a really interesting role in creating the mood of the piece. And interestingly, I forgot to mention that, but On Chesil Beach was the same. That also used music beautifully to emphasise certain parts of the story. And West of Sunshine, definitely, it was a small budget piece, but with little known actors, but they all did a wonderful job, and definitely one that I would recommend if you like something a little bit different in indie filmmaking. So I'm going to close there for now, but I will come back, as I said, and do a quick pickup on the webcam just to tell you about The Insult, which I will be seeing tomorrow. And I will do all the close off and everything after that. So I'll be back in a second. Hi everyone, it's me again. I just got back a few minutes ago from the cinema, so just to finish off today's vlog, I thought I'd share my thoughts on The Insult. Now this film, for those who haven't come across it, is a dispute in Lebanon between a Palestinian and a Christian, and over something absolutely ridiculous initially to do with a broken gutter, which escalates and becomes a huge court case that affects the whole country and causes riots and all sorts of terrible things to happen. As you might expect, it's a very politically driven film. It's got a lot of great messages about how things can escalate, about how what seems like a stupid insult can suddenly become this cataclysmic event, and how, you know, maybe we need to have a little bit more understanding for each other, and a little bit more tolerance. Obviously there are a lot of religious and racial issues involved as well. I thought it was a really thought-provoking piece, beautifully acted, excellent direction. I really loved the ending in particular, and I don't want to give too much away in case you're going to go and see the film, but I did like that there was a sort of positive slant that came right at the end after all the bleak things that have been happening leading up to it. This was a 4-star watch for me. I think it was a very important film, a very timely film, had a great message. Is it one that I'd want to rewatch again and again? Probably not, but I'm definitely really happy that I saw it this once, and I probably wouldn't have gone to this one if it hadn't been for the fact that it was on the list that Palace Nova gave me of ones to review. So I am very grateful I had the opportunity to see it when I probably wouldn't have done under other circumstances. So all that remains for today is to say thank you once again to Palace Nova for the 4 free tickets I received this month. It was great to be able to see those movies, particularly, as I said, these final 2, which I probably wouldn't have gone to if not for this offer. I will end there for today, but I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. I'll have my new reads vlog with what books I've been reading during August, and then I'll be back again with more content for you in September, including another one of these Nicki's new watches at the end of the month. See you all then. Bye for now, everyone.